Hey, it's Sandy from Ontario.
Hi, Sandy. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been trying to call in for a while. I wanted to talk about, there was that stabbing at the University of Waterloo here in Canada that was directed towards the gender studies class. And I happen to live in Waterloo. Mm-hmm. So that hit me really close to home.
Wow.
That's the university. Like, I wasn't a student there, but I've spent a lot of time there on the campus for other activities, activism, speakers, theater projects, things of that sort. And I know people who know the professor who was attacked.
Right.
And so it's just one of the things, like, I was never of the mind like, oh, it'll never happen here. But deep down, you kind of feel like, no, it won't happen here.
Will you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so back at the end of June, somebody walked into a gender studies class at the University of Waterloo and confirmed with the professor that that is what the class was. And then he pulled out a couple of knives and stabbed her and 2 other students. Fortunately, they're all going to make it. He was arrested. He was trying to blend in with the other students fleeing the class, but he was arrested that day, and he's going to be going to court and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was right at the end of Pride Month, right before Canada Day, and he said that he wanted to make a statement about gender ideology. So this was right away labeled as a hate crime because that's what it was. Like, he was specifically targeting basically people like me, who is non-binary and queer. And so, when it happens in your home, it really shatters the sense of security you have with how things are going. But at the same time, since I am queer, I know lots of people who are queer, we know that the hate is increasing. It's on the rise. We see it all around us all the time with the microaggressions, like tearing down flags or scuffing up the pride walks and all that sort of stuff on the street. And we keep on trying to say something, but it keeps on getting dismissed as a culture war, like it's not a big deal. But we're trying to really say to people, this is a problem. Even here in Canada, it is a problem. But so many people in Canada are distracted by what's happening in the States that they're not paying attention to what's happening here. And it's happening in the school boards. Like, we have people trying to ban books. We have provincial governments, trying to not allow teachers to address students with their chosen identity unless the parents know. We have municipalities banning any sort of non-civic flags on municipal properties and all that sort of stuff. And we just need we need Canadians to get their heads out of their asses and realize this is a problem here. Hate is on the rise here. It's always been a problem here. Canada was built on white supremacy. Like, that is what this country is. And, I look at the right and the fascists and all that sort of stuff, and they really have done a good job of networking across borders around the world with different groups. Like, we recently had a busload of people drive up from the States to harass Justin Trudeau, who were all right-wingers and things of that sort. And whenever there's rallies and stuff in the States, right-wingers from here go down there. They're funding each other. They're working with each other. And meanwhile, on the left, there's no cohesion. There's no acceptance of little differences and things of that sort. And
that's
so frustrating.
Yeah. I understand the frustration. And I think when I hear folks, and I don't even think it's a left, particularly a left issue to defend LGBTQ folks. I don't think that is reserved for the left. I think there is a problem with a sort of like a establishment sort of centrist narrative that this is not in understanding the sort of the depth of the problem and what it's doing, both in terms of like physical, like actual physical safety, but also like a sense of security in communities. I think there's like a lack of awareness of how deeply this has penetrated in our society. My sense is on the left, for the most part, obviously examples that we have talked about, people understand that this is, in many respects, an existential threat that is growing. I mean, I think that motivates people. I think there's just also a lot of people who just like it flies under the radar for them because, look at what's happening with DeSantis, right? I mean, that is the, above the radar version of it. And he's faltering. I'm not saying that this is, something that's mitigating, and I hope, I don't want you to interpret it that way, but I'm saying that's why I think I think for a lot of people, at least in the context of this country, I have no idea in the context of Canada, a lot of people, like, they don't have an issue with trans people, and they're not even aware of just like how deep and sort of violent the hatred has become for people who do have an issue. And I think that's a matter of just sort of like educating people and I don't know. I hope that DeSantis's failure at least, makes it a little bit more toxic for Trump, let's say, in a general. I doubt it though, because he needs to motivate his base, and he's not going to contemplate about how you expand from there. But yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that, Sandy. I mean, I'm glad that obviously that no one was killed, but in terms of the safety that you have, yourself and others, I feel. I mean, my heart goes out to you. It's horrible. I really, it's horrible. I don't know, really. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah, I just wish there was a way to get the left to start working together more instead of ripping each other apart.
Well, I think that like your perception of it ripping apart is like sort of like, to the extent that that's, look, it's nothing new for people left of center and to not be cohesive. That has been an age-old problem, even in the context of Democrats. I mean, it is like a wide tent party where you have a lot of different, sort of like disparate factions. I think the degree in which you perceive the left to be, ripping itself apart may honestly be a function of like it, what you see in the context of like, YouTube and Twitch and like, and I got to keep in mind that this is not as representative of what the left is, as I think, sometimes we feel it is. That's the best I can offer you.
And I mean, I just want to comment on this story.
Sandy, I really appreciate the call. Thank you.
We meant to cover it. We
headlined it.
Yeah, we headlined it. But like, think of how much sort of coverage a maybe aggressive protest by activists supporting trans people gets versus an actual attack in a college campus of gender professors. And yeah, I think a lot of people need to get their shit together. Whether that means I think the left can like fight. I think it's the left, what if you want to call it that, during like the Civil War was pretty split too. Like, I don't think it precludes the left from being productive to have these fights, but I think people need to stop like focusing on people need to focus on the right things.
Of course.